Hey everyone, welcome back to our channel. If you're new here, please subscribe. I'd really love that. If you're returning, how you doing? I saw a few posts on social media and I was just like, oh no, here we go again. Yeah, it's those. And I was just like, stop fear mongering. It's one of those. So I'll read the post to you and then I'm going to give you my, if you want to call it, unprofessional analysis. Okay. So it reads like this. If warheads start flying, every major U.S. city is a target, and up to 250 Americans could be wiped out. Fallout would turn vast regions into radioactive wastelands, forcing survivors into weeks of shelter, if they even make it that far. Military bases, missile silos, and power plants are high on the hit list, with attacks predicted from all sides. Even so-called safe zones wouldn't escape the devastation of a nuclear winter. With global tensions rising and armed treaties crumbling, this isn't just a doomsday fantasy, it's a blueprint for how bad things could get fast. Before I go any further, my name is Autumn, and on this channel we talk about prepping, homesteading, gardening. We dive into some current events. I do have a second channel, ABG Prepping. The link is in the description box below. I also have a Patreon, and over there we talk about stuff that we can't talk about here due to YouTube's terms and policies, and the link is in the description box below. So I'll go on. So the second post says, if the bombs fall, pray you're in the blast. Here's the real nightmare scenario. Nuclear war doesn't end with the explosions. That's just the opening act. First, the cities burn. But what comes next is worse. The skies go black. The sun disappears behind a cloud of smoke and soot. Temperatures crash into an endless winter. Crops fail. Animals perish. People starve. And then it really gets dark. With no food left, survivors turn on each other. Armed gangs roam the wasteland. Cannibalism becomes survival. Even if you last a decade, the sun returns, but so does UV radiation. The ozone layer gone. Any life left gets scorched. Crops can't grow, animals can't survive, and without fuel, trade, or tech, there's no putting civilization back together. Bottom line, if nukes ever fly, humanity is toast. Well, this scenario described in these posts is a grim, worst case depiction of a full scale nuclear war rooted in real scientific and strategic concepts, but amplified for dramatic effect. I'm going to break it down for you, addressing key claims with a mix of factual analyses, scientific grounding, and acknowledgement of the uncertainties. This honestly sounds like it came out of like a sci-fi book. Okay. So here are some key claims and analyses. So the mass casualties in the U.S., okay, 250 million gone, right? The plausibility. A full-scale nuclear exchange targeting major U.S. cities could cause catastrophic casualties. Okay, the U.S. has about 330 million people, with over 80% living in urban areas. Studies like a 2022 Princeton University model estimate that 90 to 130 million immediate deaths in a U.S. Russia nuclear, okay, factoring in blast, heat, prompt radiation. The 250 million figure is on the high end, assuming near total urban devastation and long-term fallout effect. Major cities like, just say New York, LA, Chicago, Washington, D.C., okay, they're the likely targets, right? Due to population density, economic importance, government infrastructure, military bases like NORAD, Naval Station Norfolk, missile silos in like North Dakota, Montana. Nuclear power plants are also high priority targets. Okay. While devastating, total annihilation of 250 million is unlikely in a single exchange unless multiple adversaries like Russia, China, North Korea, they have to coordinate with thousands of warheads, which is logistically and geopolitical like complex. Immediate deaths would likely be in the tens of millions, with millions more from fallout and societal collapse. So now let's talk about radioactive fallout shelter needs, okay? Nuclear detonations produce radioactive fallout, okay? We all know this. Particles contaminated by fission products, okay, that can spread hundreds of miles depending on wind patterns, detonation type, ground versus air, okay? Fallout is most dangerous in the first 48 hours but can remain hazardous for weeks. Sheltering for like 2 to 4 weeks in a well-stocked basement or a bunker can significantly reduce exposure. Areas downwind of targets, especially near ground burst strikes or silos, bases, could become uninhabitable for months, even years. For example, a 2023 study in Nature estimated that fallout from a US-Russia war could expose millions to the lethal radiation doses within days. Now, with this post on social media, the radioactive wastelands imagery, okay, is accurate for heavily targeted regions, but not all areas will be equally affected. Okay, rural safe zones farther from targets could remain viable for proper sheltering, though long-term survival depends on food, water, security. Okay, now the nuclear winter and environmental collapse. A large-scale nuclear war could inject massive amounts of soot into the stratosphere from burning cities, blocking sunlight, causing a nuclear winter. There was a 2022 Nature study modeled a US-Russia war, okay, 4,000 plus warheads, okay, leading to a 3 to 10 Celsius global temperature drop for 3 to 10 years, reducing crop yields by 50 to 90%. Now, this could starve billions globally. High altitude detonations release nitrogen oxides that deplete the ozone layer, increasing UV radiation. The same study estimated a 50% ozone loss, raising skin cancer risks and harming ecosystems. Now, the nuclear winter is a credible risk, but its severity depends on the number of detonations and targets. A limited exchange, like 100 warheads, okay, would cause less severe cooling. And when in that post it said that the sun is going to disappear and the crops can't grow, it's dramatic. But it aligns with a worst case model. So, about this societal collapse and long-term survival. That social media post, its depiction of starvation, armed gangs, cannibalism, reflects plausible outcomes of societal collapse. Okay? Now, when you think of societal collapse, everybody always thinks like The Walking Dead and stuff like that, okay? Get that out of your brain, okay? Without power, transport, food supply chains, urban survivors would say they would face desperation. No joke, okay? I mean, historical examples. Famine, post-World War I chaos, okay? It shows humans resorting to extreme measures under scrutiny. Now, the post's claim of no recovery due to UV radiation, no fuel, no trade, is partially accurate. Rebuilding would be slow without infrastructure, but humanity has recovered from past catastrophes. Small, self-sufficient communities could persist, though at like a pre-industrial level. Okay? Now the cannibalism becomes survival and humanity is toast, framing leans apocalyptic. Okay? While civilization as we know it could collapse, not saying it would, it could. Pockets of survivors could endure, especially in less affected regions. Recovery would hinge on global cooperation and resource availability, which this post, it dismisses entirely. It's just saying, there's no hope, no. So when it talks about global tensions and arms treaties, okay, listen. Their reference to global tensions rising and arms treaties crumbling is grounded in reality. The New START treaty, limiting U.S. and Russia's strategic warheads, is set to expire in 2026 with no clear renewal path. Russia's 2023 suspension of inspections in China's nuclear arsenal growth, which is estimated at 500 warheads by 2025 per SIPRI, which is SIPRI, heightened risks. Now, North Korea and Iran's nuclear ambitions add volatility, of course. But while the treaties are fraying, deterrence, like mutually assured destruction, still holds, okay? No major power has signaled intent for nuclear war here, though miscalculation risks in Ukraine, Taiwan still persists. So here's my critical perspective. The post, while vivid, fear-inducing language, pray, you're in the blast, humanity is toast, right? To convey urgency, but they overstate the inevitability of total annihilation. Nuclear war would be catastrophic, for crying out loud. Millions perished, global systems shattered. Humanity's extinction is not guaranteed. Models vary widely, okay, and factors like war scale, target selection, global response shape outcomes. The post almost omit mitigation strategies here, like civil defense, international de-escalation efforts. Surviving a nuclear war scenario requires preparation for immediate dangers, blast, fallout, okay. Long-term challenges, food scarcity, societal collapse, okay. Now, if you really want me to get into the nitty-gritty, I will, okay, like talk about preparations. Okay, we could do that. But that post was literally fear-mongering BS. But before, okay, let's talk about the preparation before, okay? Build an emergency kit, okay? I mean, this is a prepping channel, so I'm sure you already got this down, all right? Essentials, at least 2 weeks worth of non-perishables, water, 1 gallon per person per day, manual can opener, okay? Myself, I'd say amp that up, but you know me. Medical supplies, your first aid kit, okay, your scripts, potassium iodide tablets, protect your thyroid, okay? If you've got a effed up thyroid like I do, N95 masks for the dust, right on. Tools, battery powered or hand crank radio, flashlights, extra batteries, duct tape, plastic sheeting, like the shower curtains, okay? For sealing shelters, and a multi-tool, okay? Documents, copies of your IDs, your passports, your emergency contacts, and a waterproof container. Make sure you have all your insurance paperwork ready too, okay? Plan a shelter. Identifying a basement, an interior room, or an underground area with thick walls, concrete, or earth to block out the radiation. Okay? The best shelters have a protection factor, okay, which is, in other words, PF, okay, of 40 or higher, meaning that they reduce radiation exposure to 1/40th of outside levels. Sealing, not the ceiling, sealing, okay. Stock plastic sheeting and duct tape to seal your windows, your doors, and your vents against the particles. Ventilation. Plan for air filtration, HEPA filters, okay, or manual fanning to avoid the CO2 buildup in sealed spaces. Sanitation. Store your portable toilets, okay, your garbage bags, your disinfectants. Make sure you're clean, all right? Learn your area's risks, okay? If you, whatever your area that you're in, you have to know what's going on. Check if you're near likely targets, like we're right near a military base, okay? Like if you've got military base, major city power plant, okay, which, yippee, right in the middle. Tools like Nuke Map, okay, by Alex Wellerstein, can estimate blast and fallout zones for your location, okay, so write that down. Evacuation routes. Map your multiple escape routes from urban areas. Avoid major highways prone to gridlock, and have your go bag ready with all of your essentials, okay? Your safe zones. Your rural areas farther from targets or safer for long-term survival, but verify they're upwind for fallout zones, okay? Each one of us have our go bags, and I season them 3 times a year. Okay, for summer, for fall, and for winter. Okay, make sure you season your go bags. They must be seasoned. Okay. Now, develop your skills and your knowledge, please. Learn your CPR, your wound care, your radiation sickness symptoms, nausea, hair loss, burns. Survival skills. Study water purification for boiling or tablets. Okay. If you have life straws, okay, we've got Berkey, we've got, in the description box below, you will see something called the ITEAL. That is a new water filtration system, okay? Click on that, use my code, and you're good to go, okay? Basic foraging, okay? Get the SAS Survival Handbook. It's very useful. Even if you get a military handbook, I have the Army and the Marine Corps handbook, okay? It teaches you about foraging, how to build shelter, how to water purification, and everything else, okay? Communication. Memorize your local emergency radio frequencies and consider a ham radio license for post-collapse communication. Build relationships with your neighbors, please, okay, or local survivor groups for mutual aid, okay. A trusted group improves security and resource sharing, even if it's just, some family members or whatever the case may be. If possible, stock 6 to 12 months worth of food, all right. Rice, beans, freeze-dried meals, okay, peanut butter, it works too. Ramen noodles, who cares, as long as you're getting something in your belly, right on. Seeds for gardening, barter items, okay. You can even barter your trade, okay. Do you know how to cut hair? Okay. Do you know how to give a manicure and a pedicure? Okay. These are things, that's my trade, okay. I'm a hairdresser. So, it's my trade. I'm hungry. Let me cut your hair. You know what I'm saying? So, even though we're stocked and ready to go. All right. Just saying. You have a trade? Are you an electrician? How about a plumber? Do you know how to pour concrete? Okay. That's what I'm saying. You know how to fix a car? Okay. You know how to sew? There you go. All right. Because these are going to be valuable trades after an collapse. Okay. Now, during. Now, when responding to a warning, flash or alert. If you see a bright flash or hear the emergency alert, whether it's on the radio, the phone, siren, act immediately. Boom, you jump. You have seconds to minutes before a blast wave or a fallout arrives, and I mean it. Seconds. Drop and cover. If you're outdoors, lie down, face down in the dirt. I don't want to hear it. Okay? Cover your head. Okay? Close your eyes to avoid flash blindness. Stay down for at least 60 seconds after the blast to avoid debris. Get underground, move to your pre-planned shelter or your nearest basement, subway, concrete building. Avoid upper floors and windows. Now, when it comes to the fallout, when that begins falling within 10 to 20 minutes of a detonation, especially from ground bursts, you must be sheltered before it arrives. Okay? Use plastic sheeting and duct tape to cover your openings, like your windows and your vents and your doors, stuff like that. Okay? Block vents temporarily to minimize your dust entry. Okay? And I know you're going to say, well, I got the insulation in the attic, I should be fine. No, listen, you have to cover the vents. Okay? Allow some air exchange to avoid suffocation. Okay? But you'll be fine. Stay away from exterior walls. If you're caught outside, take your clothes. Nobody's going to care. Nobody's going to look. Take it off. Okay? And then put those clothes in a plastic bag. You got a Walmart bag? Put it in there. Okay? Before going inside the house. Take a shower. Okay? Soap, water, get it off. Okay? Oh, don't rub too hard because there might be particles on your skin. All right, and you don't want that getting embedded. All right, take the KI tablets within hours. All right, to block the radioactive, especially with the kids and the pregnant girls. Okay, now use a battery powered radio to listen for emergency broadcasts like NOAA, okay, NOAA, or local AM FM, and then just stay put. Okay, don't go nowhere. Ain't nobody or nothing that important for you to move. All right? Now, after. Assess and exit safely. If you have a Geiger counter, monitor radiation levels before going outside. Okay? Levels below 0.01 rads per hour are safer for short exposure. And I mean minutes outside. Minutes. Okay? Wear protective clothing, gloves, boots, mask to avoid dusty areas. Fallout settles in lower areas, so stick to higher ground if possible. Okay? If your area is heavily contaminated or lacks resources, all right, move to a pre-planned safe zone, upwind, travel at night to avoid the UV, okay? Ration your supplies, stretch it out, okay? Just because you think it's over doesn't mean that you could start gorging yourself again, all right? Leave the Oreos alone, all right? Still eat smaller portions, about 1,500 calories a day. Prioritize higher calories, shelf-stable food. Still boil the water using purification tablets. Collect your rainwater if groundwater is contaminated. But filter it through cloth and remove the particles. All right. Forage and grow your food. If your crops are failing because of nuclear winter, focus on hardier plants like potatoes and kale. Greenhouse garden. All right. Learn edible wild plants, but test for contamination. All right. Defend yourself. There's going to be morons. Okay. There's going to be those zombies. Okay. This is a plausible scenario during a collapse. So fortify your shelter. Okay. Avoid confrontations. Avoid drawing attention to yourself and your house. Travel in small groups for safety. Partner with trustworthy survivors for mutual protection and resource sharing. Avoid large groups that may attack zombies. Okay. If temperatures start to drop, insulate your shelters with blankets. Okay. Use wood stoves or solar cookers for heat, conserving fuel. If the ozone layer is damaged, limit daytime exposure. Wear long sleeve shirts, long pants. Okay. Hats, sunglasses. Okay. Build shaded shelters for crops or livestock. Watch for any ickness, okay? Throwing up, fever, diarrhea, okay? And treat with rest and hydration, all right? Use pre-learned skills, gardening, mechanics to rebuild. Salvage your tools, your books, your solar panels. Form or join a small co-op group to share labor and knowledge. Historical recoveries like post World War II show community resilience is key here. Okay. Now, when it comes to your mental health, the post, it says it really gets dark because it warns of despair. If you maintain your morale with routines, with normalcy of some sort, storytelling, small goals to combat isolation and trauma, you'll be okay. Now, the social media post has an apocalyptic tone, and it exaggerates for impact because it's got to grab you, right? But the risks, they are real, but survival hinges on preparation, adaptability, and luck. A full-scale nuclear event would take out millions and disrupt civilization, but humanity has survived catastrophes before. Rural areas, preppers, resilient communities, we can endure, even in a nuclear winter. The 1980s FEMA Guide, Nuclear War Survival Skills, which is available online, and modern CDC resources offer detailed advice. Okay. That's all for this video, guys. All right. I will see you in the next one. You stay safe, you stay positive, you keep prepping, and as always, fear less. Ciao.